guys who combined to play 15 seasons in the National Football League trenches. Well, 2 guys. And Mackey, who didn't do shit. This is the O-Line Committee.
All right, it's Mackey, it's Jeremiah, and it's 1987 Hulk Hogan here on O-Line Committee today.
Brother.
Are you oiled up right now, Boone?
I'm more macho man. I'm a more macho man type of guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Snap
it to us. Ooh, yeah. Snap it to us.
Or more Kevin Nash. Like I was kind of big like Kevin, so I always thought myself like Kevin. Dude, sorry, it's mulch day. It was mulching day. Me and Bear Bear were mulching outside.
Dude, I saw this thing where you can the new way to mulch. It's like this vacuum that's reverse powered that you can just spray it out like a freaking hose. Just,
that's fun.
That'd be how I'd mulch.
No.
That's the easy way out, dude.
That's the easy way out.
Or get the rubber pellet mulch so that you don't have to redo it every year. That's the way to do it.
That's even worse. You're that guy.
I just laid rock. I went.
Oh, you're that guy.
What do you mean that guy?
You do the stones all around the house, and then
I have rock. I have rock all around the house.
It's not rock. It's stones. They're stones.
It's rock.
They're stones.
What the fuck's the difference?
Stones.
Stones are bigger.
I have
rocks.
They're probably like this big.
Little rocks.
They're probably like this big.
Yeah, rocks.
Yeah, we know exactly what you're talking about.
I would say stones are more smooth edged.
Like
rocks
big
are
stones.
more unpredictably jagged.
Yeah, I laid rock around my house.
You know, funny story time here. So I grew up on a hobby farm, some horses, dogs, 7-8 acres of land and landscaping. And my mom remarried my stepdad, and I was like 8 years old, and we moved from the suburbs to the hobby farm. And I remember it was like the second summer, and I was probably, let's say, 10 years old. And a gigantic dump truck pulls up down the long driveway and just dumps like literally like a full overflowing pile of rocks in the middle of our gravel driveway. And I'm asking dumb questions to my mom and stepdad.
Real dumb questions.
It's like the end of May. I said, so what are we going to do with those rocks? And my mom said, we're going to spread those around. Those are going to be the landscaping rocks for the property. And I said, do they come back and they spread them around? Like, who spreads those rocks around? And she goes, welcome to your summer task, old Macadac.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Grab a shovel, grab a wheelbarrow, and a towel.
Get some gloves and Godspeed.
I'll tell you what, dude. You never be more in shape in your life than when you're mulching, lifting rocks. Fucking yard work is the best. And that was my secret when I was playing. Was I always did my own yard work in the off season. So I was always out in the heat all day, every single day, no shirt on, 100 degrees. You'd just be outside. And then by the time training camp came, you'd be like, "This is a joke. I've been out here all day." Everyone else is like, "Man, I was inside," or "I was on vacation, I was in the ocean." I was like, no, I just sit outside and be so mad at myself, moving rocks or mulching or just stupid shit. And then when camp would come, everybody else would be exhausted. And you'd be like, I'm used to this shit. It's so simple. It's great.
Landscaping and farming.
Different, dude.
Different types of strong, man.
And I can honestly say on my street, I think I'm one of 2 people that do my own landscaping.
Well, you live in a very rich neighborhood, so it's not surprising.
There should
Alex,
be more dudes
not
on
forgetting
this
his roots, man.
Never. I would never forget. Are you kidding me? Leave some mulch for me. I'll kill someone. Fuck with my mulch beds. Oh, I'm not playing around. They look great right now. Bear and I did a great job. I was very proud. 2 cubic in like an hour.
And the kids get to learn that not everything is handed to you. Not everything is just paid for and outsourced.
You know what I love?
Get those hands dirty.
The minute I asked if he would help me mulch, he was like, yeah, can you get my wheelbarrow? It's in the shed. I was like, he even remembers he has his own wheelbarrow. He's got his own shovels. Takes his shirt off like I do. Puts his hat backwards.
EDM music. Puts
dude,
a dip
no.
in.
He's got the one AirPod in.
Listen, if it's not on the AirPods, it's country. Because I don't want the kids listening to that shit, right? It can't be all rage, techno, going crazy. But with the AirPods, that's what that is. But when it's on the loudspeaker, and especially the neighborhood, they kind of complain. They're like, Boone. It's not a fucking rave at noon on a Tuesday, okay? Can we stop with this shit?
Luke Bryan, maybe, okay?
Like, all right. Little Chris Stapleton, call it even. All right, I'm cool with that.
It's fair, boys, let's jump into it here. If you haven't already, if you're maybe new to the O-Line Committee or you're dabbling and you haven't committed yet fully to clicking the subscribe button and the like button on this YouTube channel, you can help us keep growing this thing. And then on the audio side, Apple and Spotify, a 5-star rating and a positive review can help us out. And maybe you're even discovering this through the Purple Daily audio feeds. Jump over to the O-Line Committee, Apple and Spotify, where you can find exclusively our stuff in those feeds. So we'll do some mics. We've got some meeting in the A-gap, some dumb football questions. Let's start with, you guys both played for the Vikings, and did you both play in Europe for the Vikings, or was it just Jay?
Just me. So I was 17. We went 17. over in, I think it was Cleveland in 17.
It was.
Yeah, and it's going to be Cleveland again for one of them, which means the Vikings won't have played in Cleveland for like 25 years or something when it's all said and done. But the international slate, the full schedules come out tomorrow night, but the international games are out. We also know that Eagles and Cowboys are opening on Thursday Night Football. But the NFL, so Brazil for week 1, Chiefs and Chargers. And then you've got toward the back end of the season, you got Germany, Falcons and Colts. You got a Madrid-Spain game, Commanders and Dolphins. But as the NFL continues to push the walls out and experiment with these international games, the Vikings become the first team to play back-to-back international games, not including the United States. So week 4, Vikings, quote-unquote, at Steelers in Dublin, and then they stay over in Europe to play the Browns in London at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium the next week. So this has got to be the NFL's way of like, all right, let's test run this. If there was a team or a division over here, what would this look like? Your thoughts on the Vikings being the guinea pig here?
I hate it. Like, as a player, right? From a player's perspective, from a fan perspective, you don't give a shit. You're like, it's Sunday is Sunday. The game is played on a 100-yard field somewhere. Who cares? From a player's perspective, being out of your own routine for essentially 2.5 weeks, if not more.
It's a long time.
Awful. Like, away from, you got to remember, we have our weekly routine outside of the building with our own massage therapists and our own chiropractors and our own doctors or our own mobile people or whatever we have to help take care of our bodies outside of the facility that we've built our team around us to help us get to Sunday is all based on where we live. What am I going to do? Am I going to fly those people to Europe for 2 weeks and have them help me there? Or, it's going to really be interesting how that goes because I don't think the players are going to like this at all.
I'm with you, Jay. I would not have liked it at all. Number one, I'd be away from your family for 2 weeks. Like, I could see a lot of the young guys being like, dude, this is great. We're going to go over there. We're going to live it up. Like, that's different, right? Yeah, enjoy yourself, have fun. But the guys that have families and kids and you're like, man, I got a routine of going home and chilling on certain days, of just hanging out with the kids on certain days. And all of a sudden you're taking me away from that. And people are like, oh, boo-hoo. It's like, dude, it's a lot, though. You're moving people for 2 weeks to Europe, and you're like, enjoy this. And a lot of them are like, dude, the food here sucks. You can't really do anything because when you get there, they're quick to be like, don't go anywhere, right? Like, mind your business, stay where you are. Because like when we went, we were in the country for a long time, and there's nothing to do out there. But then they take you in the city and they're like, you have to watch your back. You have to watch everything you do because everyone's watching you. And there are a lot of people watching you over there because you're big and you're American, and they're looking at you like, oh yeah, you're an easy target. Like, it was crazy being over there. And then you talk to some of the guys about the daily routine of how they have to make sure we're secure. And they're like, yeah, man, we have like 4 routes to get you to practice in case something goes wrong. And you're like, but like, seriously, nothing's going to go wrong, right? And they're like, oh no, something could go wrong. They're like, dude, you guys are a big entity over here. I was like, no, we're stupid Americans. They're like, exactly. You're a problem. And I'm like, holy shit, we are kind of a problem, aren't we? Like, instantly you're like, I don't know that I want to be here as much as I do want to be here. Like, this is getting weird. Yeah.
The logistic people are pooping themselves right now.
They're pissed.
Right? Like,
could you imagine
the Vikings logistics people woke up this morning and were like, I
quit.
This. Like,
I quit.
Now I'm talking about moving our entire team,
right?
Everyone, right? Because you got to bring.
You have to move the weight room. You got to move.
You got to bring everyone overseas for 2.5 weeks. Because what used to happen is if you had an international game, then you had the bye week following it. Right? Isn't that how they usually did it? So like,
yeah, and then people started experimenting with not doing it.
Right. So then it's like, okay, maybe we'll go to the bye week, and like,
yeah.
maybe now it's like, let's just leave them there, right? The logistics.
And I think they're going to get a bye week at the end of all of it, like week 6.
Yes,
if you don't, that's terrible.
But even then, I mean, the logistics of moving a football team overseas for 2.5 weeks is going to be insane.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that? Because all right, I'm just an idiot, never played in the NFL, obviously, and my first thought was, well, this is actually kind of great because you're not taking away any home games from a Vikings perspective. These are 2 what would have been road games at Pittsburgh and Cleveland they turn into neutral site games where those teams have to travel. So like competitively, you go from having 9 road games to 7 road games, and the other team in either division have to play.
Browns and Steelers are not happy they lost a home game. No chance.
So that's where my mind goes. But it sounds like you guys go toward the logistical things that a dope like me wouldn't think of because I'm not on the inside. Like, what are some of those?
Dude, I had a massage therapist that I would go to on Mondays and Fridays.
Okay, Justin Tucker.
That were outside.
Easy, bro.
That's a Justin Tucker sign.
Right? Like, I'd get a flush massage on Monday, and then I'd get like a recovery one on Friday, getting ready for the games, right? Everyone has like their own acupuncture, their own MAT guys. Like, outside of the facility, you have your own core team. And I know the guys relied on that to get to Sundays, right? We used to get IVs before games, right? We had an IV company. We'd all meet up at people's houses. They'd all come in. We'd get IVs. We'd get glutathione shots. Like, we'd get stuff to get us prepped. Now you're taking that away. And then Boone mentions another part. The food over there is very, very lackluster. Like, I remember when I picked up, I was like, what is this? They're like, oh, that's a boiled chicken. You're like,
what are we boiled?
No, I'm not kidding. It's bangers and mash all week.
Yeah,
dude.
it's
You're
like
eating
boiled
bangers and
chicken.
mash all week.
Like, and you, if you went on Wednesday, you're like, I can deal with this from Wednesday to Sunday. Like, whatever, man. I'll figure it out.
2 weeks.
But you're now saying 2 weeks. 2 weeks of the amount of food you got to prepare, and now you're moving
boil
parts.
thing's terrifying. There's about 17 different ways that I would devour chicken. Boiled is not on that.
No,
Here's
dude,
how,
how
I would do it.
Tough.
I would move us to London, leave us in London, and then just travel to Germany like it's an away game, right? And then come back to London, practice that whole week, right, to try and keep some semblance of normalcy. Hey, we're going to move the entire operation and plant ship in London, right? London's our home base for 2 weeks. And we're going to practice at this facility. We're going to practice here. And then for the game, like a normal game, we're going to leave on Saturday. We're going to go over to Germany. We're going to play our Germany game. We're going to get back on the plane, fly back to London, and have a normal game week here in London. That's the best way you can structure this to try and make it like a game week. I think if you tried to go, we're going to spend a week in Germany and then uproot and spend a week in London, there's no way logistically that'll make sense for the players. Because you still want to win these games.
I hadn't thought of it that way, but that makes sense.
You have to win these games. Like, that's the thing from a fan's perspective. You're like, oh, this is great. But like from a coach perspective and organization perspective, you got to go over there and win. Like, who cares if it's on different soil? The end-all be-all game plan here is win. So I got to structure this the best way to win and go 2-0 in Europe and then come home.
The problem too is, do you remember the field? Do you remember the practice field out there? How terrible it was. It was by the woods.
It was like a cow pasture.
Yeah, and then you had like, in between the field was the weight room, which was built on like slabs that were like bouncy. And then there was like the indoor locker room was next to it. And you were like, this is just pitiful. Like and Jay's right. You're going and you're playing number one, 2 competitive teams, right? Like one of them just got stacked on the D-line, Cleveland. And then you're talking about Pittsburgh, who's always been a ferocious defense. Like, you need dudes to show up, especially those 2 weeks. And you don't really have good conditions to go out and practice. You don't have a full weight room. You don't have dudes eating the best. You don't have them in their own beds. And you're doing this for 2.5 weeks. Like, that's a long time to be like, hey, we're going to go away from home for a while. We're going to switch continents. We're going to move total time zones. Dude, I remember like, everything about the entire trip was just awful. Like, dude, the eggs at times were rough. They were very, very runny. And at times they were super orange. And you were like, man, this is getting super creep.
What? But the yolk was orange?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. The food's just so different, Mac.
Super different,
like,
dude. It doesn't taste anything like our food.
Do you remember our conversation 2-3 weeks ago about how much food we're eating? Like, remember, like, talking about the amount of food we are consuming?
Just to maintain, yeah.
And when you get over there and you're like, I don't want to eat any of this. And I already don't want to eat because I have to stuff my face regardless. Now I don't want to eat any of this. Like,
More bangers,
it was
more
interesting.
More fish and chips, more bangers, more mash. Like,
there is some cool stuff to being able to say you played in Europe and doing all that cool stuff, and staying out in the countryside is super pretty. And at times, you know, you can go to a nice steak dinner. Like, I remember when we went to like Wolfgang Puck's restaurant. So there are times where you can do that, but for the majority of the week, they keep you in the countryside. They're like, don't go into the city. They really limit what you can do. And for the Vikings, that's a lot of stress. Like, you're asking dudes to be away for a long time, not practicing in adequate facilities, not eat adequate food that they're used to. Like, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens to the Vikings while they're over there.
But what is it now? 15 years? How long we've been sending some of these? Like, the Jaguars are just over there all the time. But
those poor guys.
It's not like they've experimented.
Max 5 days. Like, usually it's a team flies on Wednesday and you come home Sunday, right? That's a 5-day window. You're talking about 10 days, probably 10, 11 days, right? You still probably go out the Wednesday before your first game, and then you're not coming home till the following Sunday. Like, that's a long freaking time.
But even with all this feedback, and I saw, by the way, like there's already some Vikings players, like Jonathan Grenard went on Instagram. He's like, shake my head. This is dumb.
Like no one wants to do it from a player's
Could you imagine packing up for that trip too? Like, hey, who's doing laundry while we're over here? Because I'm not doing my own. Like, we're just going to turn all of our laundry in every day. Like, I remember at times we would have to sneak clothes into our hampers from like football because we were like, there's nobody doing laundry and we're running out of clothes so fast, dude. It got a little crazy over there. You should be careful.
But the NFL, my point is the NFL is not scaling. They're not taking the feedback and being like, you know what, that's a good point. Let's not go to
Jay's right. They were
Madrid
like
and Dublin. They're literally building toward either a team or a division or multiple teams existing over. And it's been like a quarter century since the NFL has expanded. I think Houston was the last time.
Yeah.
This is continuing to push forward to the Jaguars moving and them expanding or however they're going to wind up doing it. So,
yeah, that would be so interesting because if you move a team over there, there are going to be a lot of guys that are in, but a lot of guys that are out. And it's going to be like really interesting to see because we've already talked about this on the PA, how they would do it, where they would have to do 8 games over here and 8 games over there. And then their season would be like over and they would do the 8 games in a row over there. And then the 8 games over here. Like even that, it's like, man, that's a lot of back and forth. And don't forget, you have to pay their taxes.
Yeah, they're not going to let you play for free over there.
No, but their taxes are worse than our taxes. So you better be careful because I remember getting the letter that was like, oh, you played a game in Europe. Now you are eligible to pay the extra Europe tax on top of it. And it was like, wait.
So you're taxed by the game location?
Yes. Oh, of course you are. So that's why we got taxed in Tottenham.
We file W-9s in every state. Every state you play in.
You have to file them. And so I remember it was like you have to pay not only the U.S. tax, but you have to pay the European tax. And I was like, this is bullshit. This is bullshit.
Well, I mean, think about it from a perspective of a playoff game, right? Imagine you got to play the divisional round over in
London
Europe.
Bombers.
Right, you play over in
the first round of the divisional, and you got to go to London.
And then you got to come. You win that
cheeky
game,
fellow, that Jeremiah.
Yeah. Or you win that game, and then you got to travel back to the States and get ready to go play in the like AFC or NFC Championship.
There's a lot. Yeah. There's so much that would go into a Europe team. It would be great. Don't get me wrong. Great.
We can sit here and bitch and moan and say from a player's perspective why it makes zero sense. The NFL is going to sit there and nod their head and go, I don't care.
Sell more jerseys. Do it.
The NFL is going to put their headphones
create a whole new team.
Turn up the volume.
Like, with the 33rd pick in the 2027 draft, the London Bombers select.
Sorry, what? I can't hear your your complaints because on Sunday night from London, England.
Join us in London next
Tottenham.
week. They're gonna love it. They're gonna
Collins
fucking love it.
Sliding into the Atlantic Ocean.
God. Here's a guy. UK's not ready for Collinsworth. They're like, seriously, we're not ready for that shit.
Okay, new mic here. Trey Hendrickson. Trey Hendrickson. This is we're recording this. I don't know.
This is interesting.
Lunchtime on Tuesday, and about 30 minutes before we hit record, old Trey Hendrickson, the NFL sack leader, 17 and a half sacks each of the last 2 seasons. 30 years old, just been a stud in New Orleans and Cincinnati. He's got 1 year left on his deal at $16 million. And he's been pretty vocally unhappy about that. Well, so he showed up to Bengals voluntary workouts today, and there's pictures of him. The media's out there, and his Bengals teammates got their uniforms or their shorts and their jerseys and stuff. And he's out. He's walking out of the practice field with his golf polo and his little like golf khakis or whatever khaki shorts.
It'd been great for a putter.
And he may have actually had a 9-iron.
That'd have been great.
The 60-degree over the goalposts.
Don't worry, guys. I'm just going to work on my chipping. It's all good.
And here's a couple accounts from the assembled media. Trey Hendrickson just spent 25 minutes with the media, had a lot to say, and didn't hold back. The word disappointed was used often. So Trey Hendrickson said he will not play for the Bengals on his current contract. Quote, I am definitely disappointed. It's become personal, unfortunately. If I sat here with 4 sacks instead of 17, they'd want a pay cut and some money back. I'm not going to apologize for the rates being paid to defensive ends. He said his statements have been, quote, provoked and asked explicitly if he would play on the current deal, he said no. Those are just some of the highlights from Trey Hendrickson.
Absolutely. I agree, dude. Listen, this team knew what they were doing when they paid 3 guys. They knew it was going to come down the pipe. You had to eventually pay somebody on that defense. Sam Hubbard retires. Didn't they just draft a guy who's now saying he's not going to practice until his deal gets signed? Like, they're kind of going in.
Their first and second rounder are sitting out until they get better language. I'm telling you right now,
they're going into some dangerous water because everybody on defense that's going to fucking do some shit for them is looking at them going, yeah, no, we're good. You paid all them. Well, now you're going to pay me. And now the defensive guys that are technically protected under the CBA are like, yeah, no, not until we sign. And that ink is dry. Will you see me on the football field? I can't say I blame them because Trey is so right. The minute that he starts to have down years, what are they going to do? Call his agent and go, hey, man, hate to do this, but it's that time of year, right? Now it's just the foot's on the shoes are on the other feet where he's looking at them going, dude, we knew this was going to happen. You knew you were going to have to pay me. They're going to get a deal done because they can't afford to not have Trey out there. Like, there is absolutely 0% chance. And that's what he knows his leverage is right now. Number one, the first rounder's not doing shit. And now you're looking at me like I'm supposed to just show up and make this all honky-dory when everyone else is getting paid $40 million. And I'm not even making half of that. And I'm leading the league in sacks. No. What's going to happen is you're going to fucking pay me. The problem is they should have paid him before Myles Garrett got paid. They should have paid. This is where the Bengals messed up. And teams do this. They look up and they go, we will not be forced into a situation, but they forget. Come August 14th, when you're looking outside at that practice and you're going, that defense can't stop a bloody nose, guess what's going to happen? Hey, Trey. Hey, yeah. Blackburn. Totally kidding about what I said. Totally kidding.
40 sounds great. Yeah.
Listen, I know because I was on the other end of that phone call and you're like, oh yeah, you was just playing, huh? Okay, cool. Well, let's why don't you call my people call your people, we'll get this going, right? Cool. Problem is, I don't know if you wait that long. You're looking out at a defense that has nothing. And you're like, man, we can score 50 points, but we're going to be giving up 52 if we don't have this guy out there fiercely going after quarterbacks, him or the first rounder who's not starting off on the right foot. Just being honest. Okay?
I love his logic there is fantastic, right? He's not coming at it from an emotional standpoint, which I think is really hard to do when you're in these situations of just I'm super angry, F them, F you, F everyone, I'm just here to get paid. Like, he used a great argument because he's 100% right. Anytime you have a player going into the back end of their contract where they're supposed to be making the most amount of money and they don't live up to standards that the team set from the year before, they're asking, hey, we need to restructure, we need to take a pay cut, we need to move some money here, put it into more incentives, put it on more roster bonus. The player has every right to come back to the team and go, I have produced 2 years in a row now. 2 years in a row now, I have produced above my pay grade. I deserve to be paid what I should be owed. And he has every single right to do that. And, the problem is what Booney said, the Bengals just don't have a lot of money left, right? You're paying 44% of your cap to 3 players. It's just not going to work. I mean,
this guy's asking for another 10%.
And it's the same thing why Dallas is upset, why they should have extended Micah Parsons before Myles Garrett got paid. It's why TJ Watt's very upset in Pittsburgh right now. Once the bar gets set,
reset.
That is the standard. Like, that is the standard. I can't accept way lower than that, right? I should be paid at market value at minimum. I should be paid at market value.
Yeah, and that's the problem right now is defensive end at market value is $40 million. That's the market. And, dude,
but Booney, to that point, it was 35 until it was 40.
That's my point, though. That's a huge jump because if the Bengals would have came at him and been like, hey, we'll give you 33, then it's more like, all right, we're in the range of highest paid. We're getting very close. Now you have to go, okay, it's 39. Like, and you're like, dude, now Trey could go, no, I want to be the fucking highest paid. Why? Because I watched practice on Tuesday. And I know how bad you guys are, so call me when it's 42. Got it. Cool. Catch you down the road. That's the Bengals. They did that to themselves, though. And I know that we've heard GMs where they go, they're just saying no to a whole bunch of money. This is a different situation where someone's like, no, literally, you need me on this defense to get the entire year going. You need me more than anyone out here this entire year now because Sam's not here anymore, and the two of us were fucking wreaking havoc. And now there's just one of me. Who knows what this rookie will do? I don't ever count on a rookie until I see them play because you just don't know if they're good or bad. But at some point, Trey's agents came to him and were like, hey, Trey, they don't have shit. They have zero leverage. We have everything, and just the thought of you not playing will scare this team into going, somebody find money somewhere, right? Because you're looking at a team now that's not going to have Sam, and now you're not going to have Trey, and now you're like, oh, my gosh, what are we doing? What are we doing? I don't even think you could be competitive at that point, could you?
It's hard to say.
Boy,
you don't even have any. You have no pass rushers. How the hell are you going to be competitive?
If you're going to bring the wide receivers back, it almost makes no sense to do that if you also aren't ready to give Trey Hendrickson the bump.
He was the one guy on defense that they go, oh, no, we're paying a defender. Look, we're paying Trey. And people go, shit. But now it's like, you're not paying anybody on defense. And now the defense is looking at you like you did this to yourself.
Yeah, it's
crazy how business
crazy.
Can sometimes go up on its head.
I'm curious, and I don't want to put Jay in a weird spot, so tell me to buzz off here. But like from an agent perspective, do these like contractual dances get super awkward behind the scenes, or is it all just like, it's part of life in the NFL?
It doesn't get awkward for us, right? It gets awkward for the player, right? For us, we don't have to walk in that building every single day. Yeah. We don't have to go be the good soldier and sit in the line and sit in the room and knowing what's happening upstairs. Right, like, because we obviously as agents, you're communicating with your client about what's happening. Hey, here's what they offered. Here's what we countered. Here's where we're at. They're icing us. We're icing them. Like, be patient. Hold on. And they call and like, what's the update? The update is they didn't call back, and we're not going to blink first and call them. Right, like, so for us, it's not super awkward. But if you're in the building and you're going to work every single day,
you see the GM every day,
and you see your head coach and your GM, and you're like, they just told me I needed to take a pay cut, and I know it, and they're just like, hey, buddy, how are you? Right, that's where it can get a little bit awkward
because the head coach has
nothing to do with it.
But kind of does, though.
No, he doesn't.
Here's what happens.
He has no say in the money.
The GM and the cap guy come up to the head coach and they go, "Hey, we need to restructure some guys. Here's the list of guys." And the head coach goes,
"Coach has no idea."
Okay, right? Like, sounds good. Do what you got to do. Like, build my team for me and let me know the pieces that I have. And then they go, okay, sounds good, and they go forth and conquer. That the coaches are
Jay,
not
how many times
involved
have
in
you
the
heard
money stuff?
A coach where they would, hey, where's so and so, and you'd be like, Coach, he got cut, and he'd be like, serious? Yeah, he got cut like an hour ago. Serious? You didn't know? And he'd be like, no, nobody told me. I'm not. Listen, this is the one thing the fans have no idea. The coaches have no say in anything unless you are the cap guy. The cap guy is the only guy that has final say. He might not know anything football, but you know what he knows? I know the cap is here, and I know we're here. So somebody's getting cut. That's all I know. Or else there's a big penalty coming down the line. I don't know what else to tell people.
Or the coaches. The coaches love to go, we're going to let – everyone's going to compete. Everyone's going to get a fair shot. Yeah. I'm going to play the best five, or I'm going to play the best receiver. And then it comes down, and then the GM and the cap guy go, hey, buddy, we're paying him a lot more money than you're paying him, so go ahead and give him the bump. Right? Yeah. It's like, oh.
You're going to need to switch those two guys over here.
Yeah, you see that on the depth chart there?
You know what happens is, I think I've actually seen this once. The GM walks in, and as you like on the board, there's a big list of all the names and the positions and the depth, and the GM will just come over and switch two guys and be like, there we go. That looks a lot better. I remember watching it going, wow, that was quick.
Yeah. They're like, Coach, I think he's got a little more upside. They're like,
nah.
Yep, sounds good. Second round pick. Pluck.
Hey,
he's going to play.
I may have seen a GM come in and just grab a name off the board, and that name didn't go back on the board. It went in his pocket, and I was quick to be like, whatever he did, I don't want to do that. That was awkward.
But, yeah, dude, I mean, the coaches, so, yeah, it is awkward, right, for the player.
But, listen, it's only awkward because the players made it awkward. There was a time when it wasn't awkward because you didn't have to go to work. You were like, listen, if you're not going to pay me, I'm not coming here. A matter of fact, you're not going to fucking see me in this building until you pay me what's fair. But the problem is now the owners got rid of that so that if you don't show up, now it's an even bigger issue.
Fine.
Big issues, big fines, $35,000 a day. And there was a time when they were rescinded.
Not anymore.
It was great, right? Then they were like, no, because the owners figured it out. This is how they're winning. that eventually they're going to accumulate $2.1 million in fines, but they're all looking at it going, you're going to take all these fines away anyways, and I'm going to get my new deal. So what they said was, listen, from now on, if you don't show, you pay these fines. So that's why everyone has to make it awkward. So if the player really goes in and says, this is a business, it's not awkward for him because he's looking at this like, this is what you owe me. I'm owed this fucking money. Why is that? Why? It's not, it's your money. It's not anybody's money but the owner's money. And if the owner values me as much as I value myself, then he'll pay me what I am worth on the market. And I remember my agents at times would say all the time, they go, listen, the market will bear what the market will bear. And I'd be like, God, that's so annoying. But it's so true, right? The minute that it jumps up, everyone's looking, going, it's my turn. My turn, right? And if you've made a name for yourself in this league and you're the guy that can stand up there and go, I'm worth this fucking money, and enough of us are going, he's worth that money, you got to pay him what he's worth, or eventually he's going to go, trade me, I'm out, peace, I'll never do this again. And the problem is a lot of these guys have made enough money, like, and I know we're going to get to this, but like the Derek Carr thing, right? Out of nowhere, retirement. A lot of these guys are going, hey, I've made enough money. I'm fucking good. I'm retiring. Fuck this shit. You don't want to appreciate me. I can't walk into a room and you look at me and go, you are worth this money. It's going to be a fight back and forth. Then I don't want to do it. And it's kind of crazy how it's come to that.
Yeah, I mean, and the awkward piece too is, and this is to Booney's point, when you're not there, like, and Booney, you can speak to this, and I know you've talked to me about this, like, it eats you up inside that you're not there.
It's hard, man.
Right?
It's
like, it
hard.
eats you up to know that, like, you're training just to train, and your boys are there, and you're probably getting calls from your boys, like, buddy, where you at? Like, and that piece. But now when you're there, and this is coming from a competitor standpoint, that, like, I kind of think about it like when you're hurt and you're watching your guys play and you can't contribute, like, that eats you up inside even more because you're watching it. Mm-hmm. So now when you can't hold out, you have to hold in now, as they say, and you're just standing there watching your guys go through it in training camp, like, the inner competitor in you is going crazy, right? And that's what the owners are banking on. They're banking on that you're going to be eventually week 2 in camp, call your agent and be like, dude, I can't do this anymore. I can't watch these guys practice anymore. I have to be out there. Like, let's get something done. That's where, as an agent, you have to be like, listen, I know, hold firm, hold the line,
be
man.
Strong, young
like,
man.
Hold the line. Like, it's all right.
It was terrible, dude.
Like,
it was
that's because
terrible.
that's what it is now. When you're there and you're watching, they're just hoping that the public pressure, because I guarantee the head coach is going to walk by and go, oh, you feeling good today? Oh, sounds good, right? Like, or the O-line, you're going to see your O-line guys like dying at practice. They get cussed out. They're going to look at you and just flip you off as they walk by, because they're like, it's just one of those things where it just builds tension in the building.
It does.
Yeah. It builds a lot of tension in the building, because if you're a guy and you're like, dude, I'm grinding out here and I know that eventually they're just going to pay this dude, I'm going to go back to the bench, or I'm going to go back to the twos. Like, I'm out here getting mine. He's not doing anything. And then there's little tensions that build in that realm too.
There
like,
was
man,
tension. Yeah, there was.
As a people pleaser, I'm getting mild anxiety just thinking about this conversation.
Feels like, I'll play pretend. I'll do it.
I'll do whatever.
I'll pay my fines.
Dude, it was hilarious. When I was doing mine, they had a fine meter and they would send me a picture every day and they'd color it in, and like they would like list how much money it was, and at the end there was a picture of like the whole team around the fine meter, and they were like, Boone, you're in so much trouble.
Steaks and beers on you.
I'm
buddy.
not in trouble.
Let's do the Derek Carr next Mike.
Yeah.
That escalated quickly.
Out of nowhere, right? Number one, if I'm Kellen Mond, I'm pissed. I mean, I'm really
more.
I am.
I mean, if I'm Kellen Mond, I'm pissed too.
Kellen Mond's
kind
upset
of up
too.
in smoke.
Kellen Moore, I am
From the
pissed.
couch catching strays.
Right, sorry. Like, you got all of a sudden, a month into you signing as the new head coach, you're super excited. You go out and draft your tackle. All of a sudden, you're like, quarterback, nope. Hey, man, listen. Like, I just want to know what happened that it escalated so quickly that they were like, out of nowhere, hey, I don't think he's going to play next year. And then a week later, yeah, he's done. He's retired. Like, what the hell happened that we don't know what's going on that quickly?
Yeah, that's where it almost feels like there's more to the story. There's been some speculation that maybe this is a Brett Favre situation where he's banged up, but he really just wants to get out from the contract and the team that he's with. And so would he like retire in air quotes and then come back in a year or something? He's not that old, man. He was 34.
That's another thing, dude. He's young compared to some of these guys. Well, did you see the first day of retirement that like his wife documented?
Yeah.
He's like doing everything, playing catch with the kids. He's going golfing. He's hanging out. And I'm instantly like, this dude seems like he's fine. Why is he he's going golfing? Why is he retiring? You could swing a club. You could throw a football, dude. What is going on?
again, he's made how much money in his career?
$400 million, and he's like, I'm good. I'm good.
And I think that, for a guy like him, he's very rooted in his faith. He's very rooted in his family,
which is awesome.
He doesn't find his identity in football. And so, for a guy like that, I think he had full peace walking away, right? And when you can have full peace and walk away from the game, I'd say 1% of players can actually do that throughout their entire career.
I'd say less.
Right? Obviously an injury drew him to that. And obviously he didn't accomplish the things that he wanted to accomplish. But I think he was able to sit, pray, think, and move, talk to the wife, talk to whoever's important to him, and say, you know what? There's more to life, and I'm ready to start the next chapter.
By the way, 16th highest paid quarterback career earnings in the history of the league.
History.
If Kirk Cousins' agent's a first ballot Hall of Famer, Derek Carr is a second ballot.
It's getting
have to wait a year.
He's gonna have to wait a year, but he's gonna get in.
He'll definitely be in there. Once again, got a ton of money, don't need this. Just like, is it worth it to deal with a new coach, a new structure? I just feel bad for Kellen Moore, dude. Walking in like, yeah, I can make Derek Carr. We can do this.
Now you're hearing all the stuff about the tank for Arch, right? Like tank for Arch Manning. And you're like, dude, first year head coach, tanking's not.
Dude, you're in your first month and people want you to tank. Oh God,
but
you're probably like
tanking. Tanking is something that's a word that is banned in the locker room.
Here's what I want to know:
front offices can put a shitty roster out, and you can tank that way.
You don't even need to anymore, dude. I hate to tell you, but without a quarterback, you got a shitty roster. Have you not figured this out yet? So here's my problem. Here's my problem. Why not go after Aaron straight up? Dude, listen, we're all in. Why? Because we're not here to fucking lose. It's the NFL. We're here to win. Like, I know everybody wants us to tank for this dude that they think's going to be good, but we're here to win this year, because if we don't, no one's telling us, the owner, that she could get mad and fucking fire us. Like, crazier shit has happened. Look at Cleveland. They fire coaches on the reg. Anything could go sideways and people be like, this is just not working out, no matter who is going to be the quarterback, right? Like, we've all seen it implode badly.
What's the Saints quarterback room right now?
It's Rattler.
It's Spencer Rattler,
who's probably the starter. And then you have
someone too.
Who's that? The other dude behind him.
Oh, they drafted Tyler Slow, the kid out of
from Louisville.
The kid out of Louisville.
That's right.
So I bet you it's Tyler Slow, Spencer Rattler, and Jake Hayner. Those are the three quarterbacks. Essentially,
you don't even need to call it a tank session. You just go, hey, we couldn't find a quarterback, and what happened, right? But that's my point. Instead, if I'm Kellen Moore, I'm going, fuck it, I'm going after Aaron Rodgers. Like, this place could not get any crazier. Let's go wild, throw something at the wall, and then you're going to get a real answer as to whether he's with Pittsburgh or not.
But if you're Rodgers, that'd be flattering. You have a little bidding more on your hands.
There's no way I'm going.
But if you're Rodgers and you're like, the only way I'm coming back is if I think, even unrealistically, I can win a Super Bowl.
Dude, he's older than the head coach. There's no fucking way he's going back there. There's no fucking way he's going back there. He's gonna be like, dude, I was playing in the league when you were playing in the league, and now I'm still playing in the league. No, I am good. Because what's Kellen Moore gonna say? It's my offense. Aaron Rodgers is gonna be like, that's cute. Go away, right? He's gonna be like, dude, Pittsburgh is better for me, because Tomlin's gonna be like, what is offense? You do the offense, I do the defense. Cool.
Yeah. So I don't know, Derek Carr. I feel like he's gonna take a deep breath.
I want to know the truth. This is some bullshit out of nowhere, like on a random Tuesday, something about Derek Carr's in jeopardy. I'm like, what is going? A week later, he's retired, and now he's driving around golf carts and like playing golf all day. Like, God, why would I not have done this sooner? Beat my head on a wall, get those idiots. God.
I got one more mic for you guys here.
Do it.
George Pickens. George Pickens, new mic, and new Dallas Cowboys #2 wide receiver behind CeeDee Lamb. Cowboys made a little splash. 4th round pick, I think, for the last year of it's one more year left on the rookie scale George Pickens contract. Does that change the landscape of the NFC East at all for you guys?
No.
I think it's going to cause more problems down there, to be honest with you. I really do.
I'm going to guess that DK and George got in a fight in like the first 2 days at practice at Pittsburgh, and they were like, this is not going to work. This is not going to work.
But here's
for
the problem.
Involved.
Now you just sent him down there with CD. So all of a sudden it's like, what's going to be any better? Like, at some point I feel like George Pickens is the problem. And at some point we talked about, like, you're really, really good, but you're causing problems everywhere we are. And it's like, eventually people get sick of that. It was either DK got sick of him, or Aaron called in and was like, there's no fucking chance I'm dealing with this shit. Get rid of him. Either one makes total sense to me. At some point, though, it'll be interesting to see what he does down there in Dallas, because if it does work out, man, it could be dangerous. Those two dudes
Pickens
out
and
there,
Lamb, that could be nuts.
I just don't. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to work.
Yeah, I'm worried more about just he's talented. There's no doubt about it.
No question.
Unbelievable talent. He's huge. He's physical. He's got unreal hands. Can he just keep it between the lines? Right? Can you just keep it and not get a 15-yard penalty at the worst possible moment for taunting, or a downfield throw and you're RKOing the DB in the background because he tried to jam you at the line of scrimmage? Like, that's the kind of stuff that he's got to get under control. He hasn't proven that he can get it under control, and so until he proves to me that he can, I'm going to worry that that's a big question mark for him. If he can go out the first 3 games of the year and look like a professional and coexist with CeeDee Lamb and share the target, share the load, then yeah, that could be an absolutely dangerous offense with Dak Prescott throwing and wheeling and dealing back there. I just don't know if it's possible.
It'll be interesting too with Shoddy in his first year as a head coach. Like you've just accepted some seriously interesting characters down there, my friends, and it's going to be interesting to see what he does to be like, I'm the fucking boss here. I mean, dude, Marty was Marty, Brody. Let's do this shit. Time to take over and be a big boy, win some games.
Does Bryant have that kind of personality where he's going to walk into
I don't
that
nothing. We're going to find out. That's my whole point.
About him.
You took on a big role right now by bringing Pickens onto your team, because now you're like, shit, I got to put my foot down and I got to let him know that I'm not taking any of this shit. 115-yarder, you're fucking out of the game. It's going to be a lot, but I think a lot of it could rest on Jerry, right? Like instantly you're like, hey, listen, dude, I'm not here to piss off the old man, and neither are you, right? So let's fucking keep this shit straight, and we'll do the damn thing. But if you get in trouble, know that he's gonna fucking come for you before I can. Like, that would be my biggest thing if I'm shot.
Well, that's because it's the other piece too, where he said he didn't want a contract extension because he wants to go and prove that he can be like so.
Which is cool.
How does it coexist in a world of I just paid wide receiver 1 ungodly amount of money, and he's gonna want to get targets like wide receiver 1, and I have this other wide receiver 1 in his own mind that's trying to go have the best year of his career to go set the market for wide receiver free agency? I don't know how those two worlds coexist, right? Because you're going to come off the sideline. We've already seen a frustrated CeeDee Lamb multiple times last year, and now you're going to have a frustrated George Pickens if CeeDee's got 6 for 125 and 2 touchdowns, and George Pickens has 2 catches for 16 yards. There's going to be issues on the sideline of what's going on there. Like, that's just the nature of the position.
Jay, I think you're looking more at like a Cincinnati situation where you're going to be throwing the ball 65 times, because you're right. You have 2 number 1 receivers. One of them is looking at you like, hey, after this stop, I'm getting paid, and I'm not getting paid here. So you can use the shit out of me. And they're looking at this like, shit, we just paid CD. All right, I guess we're going to throw the ball twice as much as we thought we were. So O-line, we're really going to need you to pass block. I mean, think about it. They really don't have that much of a run game anyway, so they're looking at this like, fuck it, we've just become the Bengals. We're going to throw the ball 65 times a game.
They are. They're pretty
We're going to run draw a few times. We'll run some outside zone, right? We'll do the old Joe Mixon special. But at some point, this is coming down the pipe as we throw the ball a lot. And by the way, that's 2 targets out of like 10 guys on the team that are going to need the ball. So it's like, we're really going to have to throw the shit out of the ball this year, boys.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It feels very combustible. It feels kind of desperate. I get it. They're looking for a splash on the field, but also they're getting hammered by the media for 2 years for not being aggressive or proactive in free agency. And this kind of feels like Jerry's way of saying, hey, look, you want us to do something? We did something. And
you know what?
See if it blows up on national TV.
I agree with you with that. Like, Jerry finally like, oh, we did something, but here's what I'm starting to wonder. How much did you play into Philadelphia Eagles' hands by doing that, by becoming a passing team? What do they love to do? They love to rush the passer. That's like their number one thing. We get home with 4, and it's like they're in your division. You're going to see them twice a year, and here you're like, we're going to throw the ball 65 times a year. You're like, okay, that's going to be interesting. At the same time, the Giants, they have a massive defensive line. Like, you're playing into all these guys' hands when really the formula you wanted to be was Philly. We run the shit out of the ball, and when we have to throw it, we throw it. Why? Because we don't want to play into all your guys' hands. We want to beat the shit out of the pass rushers. Nolan Smith doesn't want to take on a double team. He doesn't want that shit, right? He wants to come after the quarterback. Well, now you're like, you know what? Double the amount of times this guy's on the field. I love it. Double it. I don't know that was so good, Jerry. Here we go. We're going to find out.
All right, I do have some.
I have an O-line specific, Mike.
Oh,
Do
go.
it.
It's a very sad story.
Go.
Sean Rhyan, right? Packers offensive guard, drafted, and he's coming in. He missed out on a $2 million escalator in his contract by 2 snaps.
Oh,
Two
buddy.
snaps. He had to play in rounds. So in rounds 3 through 7 of the contract, right? There's what's called PPE, proven performance escalator, right? Player performance escalator, excuse me. Which is if you hit certain amount of snaps throughout your first 3 years on your contract, your base salary in year 4 jumps drastically, right?
Yeah.
So if he would have played 35% of the snaps or more in his first 3 years, his base salary this year would have jumped to 3.4.
Oh,
He missed out on that by 2 snaps. He's at 34.99% of the snaps. So now his base salary is going to be 1.3. Right? $2 million. And there's a quote from his agent, Cam Foster, that's like, we had him right at 35%. We thought he was right there. And then the NFL, because the numbers are all based off what the NFL and the NFLPA comes out, they had him 2 snaps short. The Packers are saying, sorry, we're not paying it. Move on with our lives.
I
You mean
have
the
a dumb
Giants.
question.
The Giants aren't paying it.
No, it's the Packers. Sean Rhyan.
Oh, Ryan. Sorry. I'm thinking of
Yeah,
Ryan.
yeah.
My
You're
bad.
not
Why
Ryan,
was
Sean
it
Rhyan.
so
I
close?
wonder if it's because they didn't count the field goals. Because doesn't field
They don't.
goals
It's
count?
only offensive snaps. It's
Oh, it
only
is?
offensive snaps. Yep.
How are you
I mean-
off then?
Two snaps, dude. 2 snaps.
I know, but the math is the math. Math
But
ain't math.
did he get pulled? Did he get pulled at a count?
I don't think he did. I think they had such a revolving door last year with Jordan Morgan getting hurt, and then Elton Jenkins got hurt. Guys are moving around, and I don't believe I'd have to double check if playoffs counting for it or
That's
not.
messed
I don't
up, dude.
think
If they
do.
pulled him for that.
But he literally missed it by 2 snaps, and he lost out on $2 million.
Yeah. Oh, that's brutal.
That
man.
one
That is brutal.
That one stings.
What is, just out of curiosity? Did you already say this? What are his career earnings to this point?
So he would
what
have
percentage of his NFL worth was?
so
blown away there?
He probably made, rookie year was probably 7 something. His second year was
this is probably
8.
50% of his earnings.
Yeah, I mean, if he's set to make 1.1 and he was going to make 3 he would have probably doubled his earnings on his first 3 years in that 1 year.
It's a Sean SeanRhyan,
Yes.
right? Yeah,
Long
yeah.
hair,
So
long curly hair. Dude's fucking a
okay.
beast.
So
Yeah.
I'm just curious. That's a pretty huge percentage. He's
big
still young
number.
enough. He's
I would
made
be in
about
there.
$3.5 million. This would have accounted for 60% of his career earnings.
I would
at
be
this
in there
point.
talking to Mark Murphy like Mr.
Well,
Murphy.
here's the hard part. If he doesn't what you got to think is think long term, right? So the agent in me thinks long term. If he plays for 3.4 this year, that means going into free agency next year, his starting number is much higher.
Yeah.
Now he plays for 1. What is it? 1.3, 1.36 this year.
Right.
So when he hits free agency next year, and you're going to go around and be like, I want $3 million, you played for 1.6 last year. What are we?
Right, but I was
What are we
2
talking
snaps
about?
away
Bro, it's
from
2
playing
snaps away.
for-
It's but this is the number, right? That's going to be the hard part is he's fighting an uphill battle now.
Oh man, that is
2 snaps, dude. I'd be so pissed. Oh, I'd be so pissed.
So mad.